Okay, today we're going to be talking about dynamic posture, in particular for golfers. Have a lot of golfers that I see, and if we can correct their posture, a lot of the time we can get them in a better position, get them to move through and around the ball a lot better. But just trying to change your posture with a cueing or a coaching change isn't always going to work, because your body's got to be able to get into that position to be able to have correct posture. So obviously in golf, everybody's going to be different. There's a million different swings for a million different people, but good neutral posture is going to be across the board with just little slight variances for body type and club length and your particular setup for what type of shot you're going to hit. But in general, we're looking for a good hip hinge, a pretty neutral spine. So that's going to be not our, if you're in a TPI C posture, we're going to call that more of a flexion position or maybe a thoracic kyphosis, or an S posture if you're in TPI land, or that's more of that lumbar extension. Maybe we still have a little flexion here, but we're kind of in this S position. Both of those lend themselves to their own issues, but what we're trying to get is kind of that neutral spine, and it's not a ramrod straight spine, but with a good hip hinge. And usually it's the hip hinge that's missing that leads to all this kind of torso malalignment and bad positioning. But like I said, you have to be able to get into that position and make the posture work. So a really easy drill to work on if you need to work on posture in your golf setup, we all know how important setup is just our supine diaphragmatic breathing. So what does that big fancy term mean? Well, supine means on your back. Diaphragm is what we're going to use to breathe properly. And when we get in this position, we can do it a couple different ways. I like to get in what we call a dead bug position, or the start position if you're talking about some neuro reflex treatment. But what we're going to do right here, and you can put something under the legs, this is a little more advanced, but I have this pillow back here. So first of all, cervical spine's neutral. Thoracic spine is going to be neutral because now we're using the floor or the table, whatever it is, to neutralize that back, so we're not in as much flexion. And now also the lumbar spine is going to get out of extension, especially if we have the feet up on something. So we're going to be a little more neutral. It's almost like a posterior pelvic tilt, or kind of rocking that hip back. Now we need to be able to breathe. A lot of people have a problem trying to get their breath to move down towards their diaphragm. So what I like to do is take a little weight here, put it below the belly button, have them grab a handle, and simply see if they can start to get this bell, this kettlebell, whatever it is, you know, a can of soup, a weight, whatever, it doesn't matter, to rise and fall. Now that's just one part of it. There's a lot more to proper dynamic thoracic breathing, or thoracic diaphragmatic breathing, but that's a good start. Now if you work on this, you know, when you're watching TV, reading a book, maybe reading golf magazine, whatever it is, you do this for 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to neutralize a lot of that kind of resting postural tone. You're going to get some long axis extension through the spine. Makes it a lot easier to then go into that setup with a neutral spine, get into that hip hinge. If you work with a good golf coach, they're going to be able to get you into this position, but your body again has to be able to get there first. We can't force a body that's stuck in flexion or extension into this position and ask it to perform. So next time you go out there and you're having problems with your setup, try not to force your body into the position, give it some treatment, and then allow it to get into that position. That's my tip for today.